Welcome to the final day in our 12 Projects of Christmas series. Tonight we will be using Christmas Season, the Pretty Pillowbox dies, and we are going to make a treat box. Okay? And we're not going to make it in the traditional way. So let's go ahead and see if we can get you up so I can see who's on and what your comments are. And here we go. All right. Hello, Cynthia. Hello, Lynette. Happy you could join me. I'm going to show you this pretty pillow box die. Hello, Laura. Hello, Jennifer. Waiting for you guys to jump on. And this is just a sample of the Pretty Pillowbox dies because I wanted you to see the size in relationship to what we will be making tonight. Okay, so the Pretty Pillowbox die, you cut out one of the Pretty Pillowbox, and this will fit on a 6 by 4.5 inch piece of cardstock. And then it scores everything. What I have found is that you want to kind of reinforce these scores a little bit with your bone folder when you're doing them, especially here at the corners. Just reinforce those so that they fold up nicely. And then all you need to do is fold those top sides in, fold the bottom sides over the top sides, and then you can close your Pretty Pillowbox. And I recommend that you take your bone folder and curve that top. Okay, so this would be the size of your pillow box, and it will hold Ghirardelli chocolates. You can put some Bouchard chocolates, Hershey's Kisses, those kinds of things. But this is not big enough to hold a gift card. Okay, so we're going to set this aside because this is not actually what we're making tonight. And I'm going to show you the project that we are making. So this is the project that we'll be making tonight. And I hope you like it. This opens up. And in here I've got some Merci chocolates. Now this is big enough to hold a gift card. So you could put a gift card in here. You could put some little shreddies in there, put a little gift in there. And it's just a nice size box. Another idea that you could use for this box is this would actually make a nice Christmas table place setting. If you just put a little name tag along the edge of the poinsettia with a person's name. Okay, so I really like how this turned out, and we're going to be using the Christmas Season stamp set. We'll use the poinsettia dies, and the Christmas Season is a bundle, so it comes with the seasonal label dies, and I actually have my seasonal labels separated because there's two. It doesn't fit on one card. So I've got one card which fits most of these are mostly the dies that will cut out these images, because all of these images will cut except for this one. Okay, so I store those with my dies or with my stamp set, and then I store my other card, which is the label portion, separately. Okay, and we're actually going to be using, this is the piece that I would recommend that you use to cut out and use for your name. This little label die right there, if you were going to use them as a place setting. Okay, so let's set, oh, these are the Pretty Pillowbox dies. You get a set of 11. And this is the Pillowbox die itself. And then this die here will give you holes in the top. If you put it in here, it will cut holes in the top for ribbon. And you get some poinsettia or flower dies. You get a tag, which you could also use for the place setting. Just tie a tag up here with their name. And you get this label. This is a label. And then this one cuts in the top of your box. This one will cut these holes so that you have a fancy edge. Okay, and then this one down here doesn't cut, it just embosses indentations for a pretty finish on the top. Okay, now these Pretty Pillowbox dies are in the July to December catalog, but they will be carrying over, so you will still be able to get them. The Christmas season stamp set and dies are also carrying over. I'm not sure 100% if they're carrying over in January or if they'll be back in the holiday catalog. I forgot to look that up, but they will be back. All right, and the Poinsettia dies you will find in the annual catalog along with the Poinsettia Petals stamp set, which coordinates with that. Okay, so let's talk about the supplies that you're going to need for this card. You'll need a piece of crumb cake cardstock, and you're going to need pretty much a full sheet. So you're going to need to cut 2 of the Pillowbox dies, and I would recommend that you cut your paper the long way at 4.5 inches. So if you cut this at 4.5 inches, then you'll have a 4-inch piece, and then you can get the 4x6 piece that you need out of there. And you can get 2 of the Pillowbox dies. One of them will be a little bit cut off the bottom, and that's fine because we're going to cut that anyway. Okay? So you'll get 1 full one and 1 partial one. And then you get your 4x6 piece that you need. And you'll still have this piece left over for some stamping. All right? So that is that. And here's my extra piece for a little bit of stamping. Then I've got a piece of basic white that I'm going to do some stamping on. And I have a piece of the 6x6 gold and rose gold specialty paper, metallic paper. Okay? And we're going to just do some die cutting. We're going to cut the... we're going to cut this die from here, and as you can tell, I've already done that. And then you're also going to need to cut one of the poinsettia dies from the gold. Okay, so let's go ahead. Oh, and then the other thing you're going to need is the red velvet paper, and that comes in 12x12 sheets. Okay. So let's move these pieces out of our way. We'll get some stamping done. And we're going to start with our ink colors that we're using tonight. Our Soft Succulent, Evening Evergreen, Soft Suede, and Early Espresso. Okay. And I've already got my stamps mounted. So let's start with our soft succulent. And with the soft succulent, we're going to stamp from the Christmas season this image. Okay, and we'll do that on the basic white. And we're going to do that twice. Okay. And then we're going to get, this is a 2-step stamping stamp set. So we're going to take from the Evening Evergreen. We can put the soft succulent away because we're done with that. With Evening Evergreen, we're going to take the second piece of that stamp duo, and we're going to stamp this in Evening Evergreen. Like so. Okay. And then we're going to grab the Evergreen bow from the Christmas season, and we're going to stamp 2 of those. Okay. And then we'll cut those out with the matching dies, so there's no fussy cutting. We just need to run it through twice. We will cut that. And the Evergreen bow, like that. And through the magic of video, I've already done that. And next, we're going to stamp our pine cones. And I found with the pine cone, it's a little bit easier to start with the detailed image. We're going to stamp that in Early Espresso. And we'll need 2 of those. And anytime you're stamping on colored cardstock, you really need to give that a second to sit and soak into the paper. Hello, Sharon. Welcome. Glad to see you tonight. And Jennifer, thank you for sharing. So now I'm going to take the outline image, and I'm stamping that in soft suede. And again, I'm letting that soak into the paper. All right. And then we will cut these out with our matching dies. And again, you'd have to run it through twice. So you would want to do the 3 pieces so that you only have to run through 2 times to get all 6 pieces cut. Okay? So we will set that aside because, like I said, I've already done that. From the Poinsettia dies, you'll need to cut the largest, the second largest, and the third largest poinsettia. Now, what I want to point out on these is that with the Poinsettia Petals stamp set, so let me see if I can locate that in my, if I put it back in order, which it doesn't look like I did. I'm not sure. Oh, there it is. Okay. So you can, I have these put together with Post-it tape, but this will cut out, these images are not, these are only at 65%. So you would stamp, you can stamp and cut that out, or we're using the red velvet paper, and it has a detailed petal image. So I like to take and put these together. how they're going to go. And I'll just get those how I like them. And then I'll take a piece of Post-it tape, and I have mine marked up with a Sharpie so that I don't have to keep looking for when they match. I can just put my 2 red lines together, and then I can just lay my Post-it tape down, pick that up, and then I can run it through my die cut machine. Okay, so you'll need those 3 dies. Cut. And you're also going to need this little guy cut in Bumblebee. And I cut this detailed image out of the rose gold with adhesive sheet on the back so that I can easily attach that to my poinsettia. Okay, so those are the pieces that you're going to need. Let me see if I can get these. You don't get them right back on the sheet just so. They don't want to go back. Fit. That's a pretty big die set. Okay. So let's get this stamp set out of the way. And here are our die cut pieces. So we've got that gold. We've got the 3 sizes of the poinsettia leaves, and I took the Wink of Stella and I just ran that along the veins of my petals where that embossing is, just to give it a little bit of sparkle. Okay, and I did that with all 3 of them, and I'm sure you can't tell that on the camera. Then I have those 2 leafy pieces, the 2 evergreen boughs, 2 pine cones. I cut out that seasonal label in basic white for a name. And then here are our smaller pieces, the one in Bumblebee and the detailed image in the gold. Okay, so let's go ahead and put these together before I lose them, because they're so teeny tiny. And I'm just going to use my Take Your Pick tool to release that backing paper off the adhesive sheet. And then I'm going to line that up. Just like so. And with the adhesive sheets, until you give it a good solid press, you can still pick it up and move it around. Okay, so if you're not happy with it, you can move it. But I'm going to give that a good press because I like how that looks. And I'm going to go ahead and put my poinsettia together with some Stampin' Dimensionals. Okay, so let's grab, I'm going to put 1 Stampin' Dimensional in the center of the largest flower. Peel off that backing. And we'll add this. We're going to stagger the petals. I'll just put that down. Okay. Then I'm going to take a mini dimensional, put it in the center of that second one. And I'm going to add my smaller poinsettia to that, again staggering those petals. And then I'm going to take a little bit of liquid glue put on the back of my bumblebee here. I'm going to set that in the center of my poinsettia. I'm going to give that a good press, and then I'm going to let that dry. Okay, so there's our flower. And then I'm going to just take my thumbnail because I don't want to take out the embossing, so I'm just going to run my thumbnail gently over those petals just to curl them a bit, give them a little bit of dimension. You could do this with your bone folder, and you could certainly do it before you put it together. But by doing it this way, I know exactly where those petals are going to sit. Okay, so now we can set these aside and we can make our box because we're ready to do that. Going to do a little bit of trimming on our box. Let me move these stamps out of the way. And we're going to bring in our trimmer. Okay. So can you see that? Okay, good. All right. So I'm going to put my Pretty Pillowbox die, and there's a score mark right here at this bottom edge right here. And I'm going to stick these two divots in the 1.5 inch mark and line that up so that that score line sits right on that 1.5 inch line. And then I'm going to take this and I'm going to give it a trim. Okay. And now I've got a nice flat bottom. All right, and I'm going to do that again. I'm going to set that score mark right on the 1.5 inch line. Press that down nice and tight so it doesn't move. And I'm going to remove that bottom piece. Now I've got a couple more trims that I need to make, so I'm going to put this into the top of my trimmer, and in the cutting track I'm going to line up this divot, and I'm going to put that right in the cutting track. Okay, so that my divot and my cutting track line up perfectly. Then I'm going to take my cutting blade and I'm going to run it down to that divot, and you'll feel it when it's done. And I'm just going to trim that off, and then I'm going to turn it over. I'm going to place this divot now in my cutting track. And I'm going to cut that. And I'm going to repeat on the second pillow box die. So right in the cutting track. I'm going to flip it over, put it right in the cutting track. And if I use my Take Your Pick tool and I just put that right up to that, then I'm going to be perfect every time. Okay, so that's all the trimming that we need to do on there. Now we need to score our box bottom, or our inside box. So we're going to bring in the scoring tool for that, because this is my favorite scoring tool. And we're going to score this at 1 1/4 inches on all 4 sides. So all the way around 1 1/4, that's the only measurement you have to remember. And we're going to give these a burnish on all of those score lines. Oh, thanks, Jennifer. I really like that poinsettia. And I'm afraid it probably won't carry over this time. I really like those flowers. Okay, so we're going to, on the long sides, I like to turn mine on the back, I'm going to cut up to the left of the score line on the first score line and to the right of the score line on this score line. And then I'm going to repeat that on the opposite side. Okay? So I'm just cutting up to the left and right of the score line to the first horizontal score. And what that's going to do is that's going to give me tabs to fold in and make my box. Okay? Now you can tell when you do this, you'll end up with these pieces. So you can do this one of two ways. You can give these a trim by mitering the edge, or you could completely cut off from corner to corner, here to here. So here to here. I like to miter my edges, so I'm just going to miter. And you can put in a pretty big miter and then you don't have to worry about it. Sticking out the top of your box. So what we do to one tab, we do to the other 3 tabs. All right, so that now is ready. Okay? So now all we have to do is adhere these. And let's get my silicone mat. And the key to this is to make sure that your adhesive is up right next to this score line, because that is the piece that's going to attach to the box. And that's going to rip on me, darn it. Okay, let's try that again. I'm trying to use the Stampin' Seal. I used it fine the other day. Not sure why it's being stubborn today. There we go. Got it. And come on. I thought this would be faster. For the video's sake. Okay. Because then I wouldn't have to hold it. I'm going to go ahead and put some liquid glue here where that ripped. And then I'm just going to put the score line up to the cut edge and make sure that I have my box squared up. Because I have that liquid glue, I'm going to hold that for a second. Then cut edge to scored line. Cut edge to score line. This is a very simple box. Okay. And then I'll just use my bone folder to give those a press. All right, so we've got that. Now we're going to take our Pretty Pillowbox pieces and we're going to fold on those score lines and make sure that when you do this that you have your stitching lines to the outside. So we're going to bring this in like so. Let me move that out of the way. And we're going to give that a good press. Okay. And we're going to do the same thing with the other side. And I find if you fold these both directions, that score line will hold together a little better. So now all we need to do is put these 2 pieces together. So I'm going to put some adhesive on this piece right here, on this bottom section. And then I'm going to just lay these 2 down and put the cut edge up to that score line. And with the liquid glue, I can wiggle it into place Make sure my sides are even and everything is straight. And then I'm going to give that a good press so that it seals that bottom together nicely. Okay, so now we have this. And what we should have done, and we're going to do before we put our box together, I am going to put, I've taken a 3/4 inch circle punch, and I'm just going to give this a little bit of Stampin' Seal, just a tiny bit. And I'm going to put this down in my box where I want my handles to go. I'm going to line that up. Then I'm going to line those two pieces up. I'm going to take a 3/4 inch circle punch, and I'm going to stick that in and line that circle up that I put on there. And I'm going to give that a press. And you're going to have to give it some good pressure because you're going through 2 layers, okay? Now, if you don't have a 3/4 inch circle punch, you could find a, I think there's some dies that are of similar size. The Give It a Whirl dies have a circle that's just about this size, I think, that you could run through. Of course, when you run the pillow box die, you'd have to run it through the die cut. But you can get if you don't have a 3/4 inch punch, you can order one from Amazon or get one from a local craft shop. So now we have our handles in, and we are ready to put our box inside. So I'm going to go ahead and put liquid glue on the bottom. And I'm going to do it on one side. Okay. And I'm going to press that bottom into place. And the side that isn't glued, I'm going to use as a guide. Okay. And then I got that all in place. Then I can put my other side up. I'm going to give that a good press with my bone folder. Use my liquid glue inside the box to give that a good press. And then take a little more liquid glue and I'll put it on the side of the box that's still open. And then I can just lay that down. Okay, and then I can give that a good press. Press it into place. And now I have my little gift card box, treat box, placeholder. Okay, so my box portion is put together, and all that's left is to decorate. Make sure that's good and sturdy. All right. Glue dots are going to be our friend in this particular project. I'm going to start by laying my bows down on this side. You can pick whichever side you want to pick for your front. It doesn't matter. Like this one, I think this one has a little blemish on it, so I'm going to use this for my front because I'll end up covering up that blemish. It looks like it's a blemish in the cardstock, but I'll cover that up with my decorations so you won't even know it's there. So I'm going to lay these down like so. I think just like that. That'll look good. Yep, I think that's going to be the trick. So I'm going to take a glue dot. And I'm going to put on my bow. And press that down. Get my other bow. this down. So who all got snow today? We got a little bit. I took a walk in the snow with the kiddos this morning. They had a 2-hour delay in school. Of course, we didn't get that much, and it didn't stick around. But it was nice to walk in. I'm going to use 2 glue dots on my pine cones. One on each side of the bottom. And I'm just going to put this here like so. Oh, Lynette, how much snow did you end up with? Okay, so we'll put this one here. I'm going to point this one out this way. Okay. Then next, I'm going to put my poinsettia on, like so. And for my poinsettia, I'm actually going to use liquid glue. Oh, ice on top of the deck. That doesn't sound like fun. We didn't get icy, really. That was nice. Just got a little bit of snow, and it was just enough to make everything look kind of pretty and go for a walk while it was snowing. Okay, I'm going to hold that poinsettia there for a minute. Let that glue hold on to that paper. And then, oh, actually I used liquid glue for this part too, because it was a little bit easier. So I'm going to take a little bit of liquid glue on this, and I'm just going to run it along here. I don't need a lot. And I'm going to lift up my poinsettia a little bit here. And I'm going to set that in there and give it a press. Let that glue set up. All right. And then we're going to take this one, and I'm going to cut this long stem off because that's just going to get in the way. And put a little bit of liquid glue in these little berries right here. I don't want all of them, just a few of them, and a tiny bit on the stem. And then I'm going to tuck this in under here and give that a press. And by doing that the way I glued at the bottom, then these will actually, you can take these again with your thumb and curl them up if you like, or you can leave them flat, whatever makes you happy. And then we're going to take the gold holly leaves, and these will be carrying over to next year's holiday catalog. We're going to take these gold holly leaves, and we're going to get a glue dot, and I'm going to put that at the end there. And I'm going to stick one of these up here, like so. Then I'll take another one. And I'm going to stick this one in down here, but I'm going to actually stick it between my pine cone and my evergreen bough. And give that a press. And then finally, I'm going to take one more. And I'm going to add that one, if I can get it off my finger, right up here, underneath the poinsettia. And I'm going to pick that leaf up so I can give that holly leaf a press. And there is our decoration. So then we can, I forgot to grab out more of the Merci chocolates, but we can take our Merci chocolates, and these will fit side by side. You can easily fit 6 in there. And like I said, you can also put a gift card right along the edge there. And then we're going to get some real red satin ribbon. And I'm going to put that through the front hole into the back hole. Okay. And then I'm not going to tie a knot. I'm just going to fold this in half. Wrap this around. Put it through the loop. And give it a tug. And that is going to give me bows up, tails down, and no bulk. And that's going to lay just beautifully. Okay. And then I can grab my ribbon scissors, trim that off. And there you have it. Now, I got the instructions for this pillow box from Sherry Roth of Stamped Treasures. She also had used the Poinsettia Petals to decorate hers, but she did not include the Christmas seasons. So this is my version. So I hope you enjoyed that. Oh, and don't forget, if you want to use a place setting, if you're setting a place setting for your table, you could write everyone's name and just stick that right there, and you would have a nice place setting to put at everybody's spot. Or if you didn't want to put it their spot and you just want to provide each person with a personalized treat box, you could put their name on it and just set them all in one spot and have them pick them up. All right. I'm glad you guys like that box. I love how it turned out. I've had this idea in my head for quite some time to make these up, and it took me until today to sit down and make it happen. All right, well, I hope everybody has enjoyed the 12 projects of Christmas as much as I have. Remember, I'm taking a break. I will be enjoying the holidays for the next couple of weeks, and I might be back between Christmas and New Year's, but we'll see how that goes. I'll, if I'm going to do that, I'll jump on and post so you all know that I'm going. And until next time, or if I don't see you until the new year, Merry Christmas. Hope you have a good New Year. And I'll see you for sure in 2022. Thanks, everybody. Appreciate you.